Uh-oh. I don't see.
You have to add. You'll have to add me to the stage too.
You're not at it? I thought.
There you go.
There we go. It says we're live, Papa.
Says, oh shit, we are live. Fucking anybody said
So
we
much
were
for
gonna
our
have an
intro. Yeah,
Yeah.
so much for our intro. Media inserts. Let's try this media insert. Let's try this. Overlay, StreamYard, two nobodies. Anyways, guys, we are live. Episode 122. We're trying to see
Oh,
if
Zero Cool's on,
we're
so
live or
we
not. Who
are.
deserves? You're fired. Okay, gang. So, guys,
We're
welcome
live.
everybody. Special edition. We are live. Two nobodies with the mic. Live on YouTube, no Instagram, guys. How's everyone doing out there tonight? We could not wait. We had to get on to talk about the Super Bowl. You know, I had to get on. I wanted to go live immediately, like during the third quarter. But that being said, guys, welcome everybody. We are the gambling show of record. We only have one rule on here, and that is not to be a loser, which means just don't be an idiot and lose all your money all at one time, and be responsible with your gambling. That being said, we are a skeleton crew today. To my right, I have the guru, Rafa, the man. How you doing, Papa? How's everything?
Good. What's going on? What's going on?
It's great. It's great. I'm telling you, it's great. So that being said, guys, I sort of kept my word. I did not watch the Super Bowl first half at least. Played golf, played well, played with an aspiring PGA guy. Asked him what he did. He's like, "Oh, I'm trying to make the tour, get my card." He was pretty damn good, Rafa. He was pretty damn good. I know
Yeah,
you
man. There's
played
some
as well.
fucking dudes. Fuck, man. We played with a guy who we had to wait. He was playing from the blacks. All right, so he's playing from the tips, and we had to wait every fucking hole for the fairway to completely clear because he was from the
Because
blacks. He was still getting 310, 315. Like it was like that. And we played at Oak Corey, so you know some of the holes are elevated, so he's gonna have even more distance, more than likely. I mean, dude, he drove the
such a
green
beautiful.
a couple times, by the way. Yeah, it's
That's
beautiful
nuts.
course. And he drove the green. Dude, I think it was on 6 there at Oak Corey, might be, I think like 335, 345 to the pin from the black. Oh, he drove that shit. He drove that
That's
shit.
nuts.
He putted for eagle. He missed, but he birdied the hole. No, it's a dude, and he was only a 2 handicap. So he wasn't even. So imagine the
That's
guys that are
crazy.
+1, +2, +3, and so on. And it's
I,
like, wow.
you know what though, Rafa, and you've been telling me this for a while. You've been explaining this to me for a while, and I'm so nervous. But I'm walking the course with my son and my son-in-law, and this guy, and he played for the Blues, by the way, and we gave him the choice. He's like, I'm playing, like, so okay. But I think he shot a 77,
Okay.
and he walked it. He walked it. And by the way, he's like, sorry guys, he said, sorry if I'm playing fast. I don't want to rush you guys. We're in carts. And he's walking, and he had to apologize for playing fast.
Jesus.
But
Jeez.
it was fun. He was cool. And if I could play, my handicap is in the 30s. If I could play with that dude, and you know what? Then fuck it. I could play with anyone. It gave me confidence really to play with anyone. And it actually raised my level of play, I felt like.
Yeah, because you don't want to kind of disappoint too much. And I always tell the guys when I'm playing with guys, I'm like, listen,
yes,
we played on Saturdays with some guys from Palm Springs who I thought were going to be the fucking greatest thing ever, and they weren't that good. I mean, they hit shots, right? They hit shots, and they look great on the range. But I always tell people, like, bro, you're in for probably the worst round of golf you've ever seen. But actually, those people are actually nice as fuck. Because everyone's nice out there. Everyone's
I
like,
haven't
"Oh, bro, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it."
I haven't played with a huge dick yet. Giggity.
Mm-mm. Giggity. In
Take
2
that
ways.
back.
In 2
Except
ways.
hold on. Except for me. I
Oh
have a huge
shit.
dick.
Oh fuck. Jesus
That's
Christ.
a
Full
good
Diddy
one.
on this
That's a
show.
good one.
By the
Yeah.
way, Zero
So
Cool said finally the refs called a decent game, he said.
Zero Cool, hang in there because we're gonna get into that recap. I'm gonna, I have a nephew that just been going off on me for a week since I spoke for everybody and why we hate the Chiefs. But before we hit that, Zero Cool, please hang in there. We're gonna get to that. Let's get into You're Fired, guys. Every week we fire or hire someone that is getting on your nerves, or someone that you want to actually promote or give a shout out to. Do you have anyone in mind yet? And if you have someone out there, go ahead and feel free to share it on YouTube. We'll get your firing or hiring out there. Do you have anyone yet, Rafa?
Yeah, I'd probably fire I would probably fire Cam Newton for saying that the Panthers team that he joined was just total shit. And that was a team that Steve Smith was on. Steve Smith was bothered by it today. But
Greg
yeah,
Olsen.
Cam Newton, yeah, Greg Olsen. I mean, he came out and Luke Kuechly, like he came out and he basically said that team was shit before I got there. Is basically what he said, more or less. And it bothered Steve Smith. And I'm paraphrasing what he said, by the way, but it bothered the shit out of Steve Smith and these guys. It's totally fucking disrespectful because Cam Newton has this thing about him that he thinks he's just the fucking greatest, quarterback, of his era or something. I don't know. But he's got, and
Dude,
I like the swag and shit. I like that. I like the cockiness. I like all of that. But when you go out and say that about that team, with the team, yeah, the team wasn't good because obviously they had the number 1 pick and they drafted you. Yes. But that team had Steve Smith, who we can argue is a Hall of Famer. There's no need to argue it. He will be eventually a Hall of Famer. Steve Smith Sr.
Facts.
Luke Kuechly, who will be in the Hall of Fame. I mean, real shortly here. So, I mean, there was guys, and you just come out and say that. It's, a little, he's out of touch with what he actually was, I think. So I'm going to fire Cam for those comments.
I love it. I love it. The more that Cam Newton puts himself out there, and I think now he's on First Take or he's on another show. He's obviously he's a polarizing character, but he's exposing himself to be just, like you said, cocky, idiot. And we do that, right? The more we put ourselves out on camera, the more you show your true self, and the more people are going to say, damn, Eddie's a friggin' idiot, or Rafa is this.
Yeah, no, I say dumb shit all the time, but I'm not on fucking ESPN. That's the thing. Like, you say that shit on your podcast, and I'm still would never respect, if I was a professional athlete, I probably wouldn't disrespect any of my teammates at any point.
Oh, God. Here's Zach. Zach's going after Zero.
Yeah.
You know what? Zero Cool, hang in there, because this is my nephew who I was telling you about, who yelled at me. I'm going to fire Zach Herrera for just losing his shit, losing his mind after the Super Bowl, and telling me he said the same thing that you're saying, Zero Cool, that the refs, this is what happens when you're not getting all the calls. This is who Mahomes is. He's, if he would have went to everyone saying this is Patrick Mahomes if he was on the Bears. Guys, come on, man. And I am the president and CEO of the Patrick Mahomes Hater Club. And I've been saying this, but Zach, you need to pump the brakes. Was there questionable calls? I will admit there's questionable calls. But if you have ever been a coach or ever been a leader of the team, you cannot put it all on the referees. Go out there, make the plays. Usually never, ever is one game decided on 1 or 2 calls. I'm sorry. If you make enough plays if you do enough of the right things, you will negate that call. That pass interference in the first quarter, everyone agreed, bad call. Bad call going against the Eagles. Did that define their game? No, they came back and mud stomped their ass. Okay? So just because it happened in the first quarter, I will never, and Rafa agrees with me, I will never come on a podcast and be, even with the Dodgers, which Rafa and I go back and forth, and Rafa has a good point. Even with the Dodgers and the Houston Astros thing, the banging, you still have to hit the fastball. I don't care if you know a curveball or fastball is coming, you still have to hit it. So I will never come on this show, and Rafa will never come on the show and have the take that it's all on the refs. Was it a narrative? 100% it was a narrative. But my argument was, Rafa, is that, and Dan Patrick said it best today, is that America had Chiefs, not just an over, it was just too much Chiefs. I forgot the word he used. But we were just sick and tired of like I said, the commercials, the State Farm, the gestures, the vaccines, obviously Taylor Swift. That's why I was so tired of the Chiefs. And I think America was tired. And I will fire myself. I did say that this will not be the most watched Super Bowl. And
Zach fucking doubled that shit down too. And I told you everyone would watch this shit. And it broke all the fucking records. I didn't watch it, but it broke them all.
What is 0-0? You assume
so he says
one is
here, I'll read it. So you assume one is so much better that they can negate a bad call. Sometimes when the teams are even, yes, one bad call can and will cost you the game. You're just giving excuses why we should oversee it. Now, I'll let me comment on it first, and then I'll let Eddie.
Go ahead.
Eddie comment. So, listen, Eddie's 100% right. Everyone's crying about the Bills and the Chiefs game. Did the refs help the Chiefs score 32 points or no? Like, there's bad calls every fucking game. The reason you see it more with the Chiefs is because what Eddie kind of just explained. The simple fact that everyone's tired of seeing the Chiefs win. Everyone's tired of seeing Patrick Mahomes on fucking State Farm. And Andy Reid. They're tired of seeing Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift in magazines, in their kids' shit on Instagram, probably. All sorts of shit. So you're going to watch a Chiefs game more. You're gonna actually analyze the game more than you would any other random game. There's penalties all the time. Did we go and refs miss calls and umpires miss calls all the fucking time? Are any Rams fans out there coming out and apologizing to the Saints for the Saints not getting that PI call in that championship game years back? Do we hear the Saints fans crying all over the place? Did they ask the Rams that Super Bowl, hey, if the refs call pass interference on that play there, are you not sitting here today? It's like shit like that. It's really dumb. And Eddie's 100% right. You shouldn't have an excuse. And I would never make an excuse that we lost the game because of an umpire, as Eddie would never make an excuse we lost the game because of a referee. Because if you were kicking their ass or you did whatever you were supposed to, that one bad call by the ref will overcome that. So,
yeah, well said. Zero Cool said, did it cost the Raiders the game-winning field goal?
No, I think it was a field goal to tie the game. I think it was
to tie the game,
not to win it. Tie it.
It was, and we'll get into this as well. Yes, was there a questionable PI call with the Bengals? There was a ton of them. They were all at the end of the game. My point is that, and we'll get into this as well. That defense of the Chiefs kept them in games against a Raiders, against a Carolina Panthers, against a Denver Bronco team. against the Atlanta Falcons to where if you give Pat Mahomes enough opportunities to make a play, he will eventually make that play. Okay? You had 3.5 quarters to capitalize on that offense. So, I just, like Rafa said, being a coach, being another management, you never ever want to go into a meeting with your team and say this was on the refs. It's bad etiquette. It's whiny and bitchy and complaining. I'm sorry, it just is.
It's 100%. And Zero Cool, he's bringing up the tuck rule. Did it cost the Raiders? Listen, we can go back in history, and there are so many. The game that the Patriots beat the Chiefs to go to the Super Bowl, there was a PI called that wasn't a PI call, and yet it was called, and it was called in favor of the Patriots. And everyone did this shit with the Patriots before. It was Patriots fatigue, and everyone was tired of the Patriots. Trust me, if the Patriots on that team, and I know Tom Brady was dating Giselle, but if anybody on that Patriots team would have been dating an icon as big as Taylor Swift, with all around the world and more here in the United States with young women, and the media fucking loves her or whatever, that Patriots team, you would have done the same shit with the Patriots team. So you would have had even more fatigue than you did have. So at the end of the day, all everybody wants is to discredit Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs. They're always looking for an excuse on why they win.
Yeah. Well, let's
it doesn't
move on
make it right, by the way. Because Zero Cool is still going.
It doesn't make it right.
No, it
Let
doesn't.
me fire one more. We're gonna get. We're not even the Super Bowl recap. I go. Hey, CJ, what up, man?
Well, it got real dark Papa? In this bitch.
Thank you, Rafa.
Bro, you're in the dark.
Like, bro, I'm black. I'm black. I don't know what the fuck you want me to do. You want me to glow?
I meant your lighting. Your lighting was dark.
Your lighting.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Oh,
that's hilarious. I want to fire Charles Barkley for coming out and saying that he is a known Laker hater. Came out and said that Luka and LeBron, and I'm not saying it's going to work, but he just said this will not work. This will be extremely difficult for Luka. He always is very negative towards the Lakers, which is understandable at times. They've made some bad moves and shit, but I don't know if you guys saw the game last night, and it was against the Utah Jazz, who are not very good.
No.
But when you have two players, not only as skilled as Luka and LeBron are, the intelligent factor that they both have, they're going to find a way to figure it out, Rafa. Think about, I said this, Kyrie and Luka, they both control the ball too much. This is not going to work. Let's pump our brakes on this, Chuck. I love Charles Barkley, but let's, to come out and say this is not going to work. I know he's paid for hot takes and shit, but I just want to give him some shit because I think they will figure it out. I think it's exciting. I think it's amazing for the NBA. Luka in his press conference speaking Spanish, every Hispanic person in LA was just drooling at the mouth. I actually spoke Serbian. I think he speaks 4 languages. Right. Pretty freaking cool. And I want to fire Chuck. And I also want to point out that Dirk Nowitzki being there at that game last night, I think was a message to Dallas management, because the most regarded and highly regarded player in Mavericks history has to be Dirk Nowitzki. He has a statue. Yeah, he has a statue, and it said a lot. It sent a message, and Dirk did say, "Listen, I'm a Maverick. I always will be a Maverick, my loyalty is to the Dallas Mavericks, but for him to go there and sit in support of his buddy Luka Doncic, I think spoke volumes. And I don't know if Dallas is going to recover from this, Rafa. And I have people messaging me. I have a buddy who sort of follows sports, and there's a sort of a tinfoil hat theory that Dallas is trying to take so they could move to Vegas. Now, I told them that. I know that they want to build a casino. That was the whole plan. To this new woman owner, she has made her money in the casino business. And I heard, and you would know this more, Rafa, than I would, because you frequent Texas and Dallas a lot, that Dallas is saying, no, you cannot have this. And this was a move to tank the Mavericks and lose the support of the team so they can move to Dallas. What's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, so I saw that, and I'll tell you, I was in Dallas last week, and they have a lot of the electric billboards, so that they put something up for whatever 10 seconds or whatever, and so you saw driving through, and even at the airport they have the same thing inside when you're in the airport, and they were billboards thanking Luka for his time there and all that. So, but before Mark Cuban sold the team to this, or the bigger percentage of the team, I think it's over 50. I think it's over 70%.
Yeah.
To be honest with you. He acquired a city which was included in this sale. That city is basically an unincorporated city, so they can kind of do whatever the fuck they want there, as long as the state permits it. And supposedly that's where they were going to build the stadium. They asked to do it, but so I'm not exactly sure. That theory makes all the sense in the world.
It does.
It makes sense. So it's one of those conspiracy theories that we could believe. But
it's just wild.
Yeah, it's wild. It's wild. And the fans in Dallas, like I was in the cigar lounge waiting for some friends, and they showed up like a couple hours after I did. So I was sitting there and just listening to people, and like a lot of people were like, "Oh man, can't believe! Did you hear Luka? Da 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 da." I mean, it was heartbreaking to those people. It really was, because they thought, they had Dirk, they had Dirk. Dirk retired, and now you have Luka, and and now you don't have Luka. And you don't have, in reality, a superstar that homegrown, you can say. So
is there really a market for basketball in Vegas, though? Like, you see that the Raiders
yes.
really. You think so?
Well,
yeah,
for sure. The NBA brings a different crowd than the NFL, and so the NBA's crowd is more of a powerful crowd, and I mean powerful in the aspect of money. Right, the lure of going to a basketball game, an NBA game, sitting courtside, all of that is a whole different thing than you being, in a box in a suite at a Rams game or even a Raider game, or a Dolphins game or whatever. It's not the same thing. So the NBA ticket, I think in Vegas would do well, but it's not going to be the Raiders. I think it'll be bigger than what the Raiders, at least money wise, they'll be able to fill it up. People will go watch, that's for sure. And you'll be able to, and you'll get people that are coming in there to perform on the weekend or whatever, and they'll be courtside on Friday night or Saturday night for a Dallas Aces game or whatever the fuck they're going to be called. Vegas Aces men's or whatever.
Relax.
So
Eddie, fix your camera.
Whatever they decide to do there. But I wanted to also address what Eddie.
Hold on, I gotta get my firing.
Okay, no. I want to address Eddie's firing real quick. Okay. So they're still on Eddie's firing. So he fired Charles, and because Luka and LeBron and we talked about last year before the Mavs traded for Kyrie, that we didn't think that was one team he shouldn't have gone, was for Kyrie to go to the Mavs, because we didn't think it would work. Now, with LeBron's okay with deferring. He did it the first year in Miami, at least in the playoffs, where he was able to defer to Wade, and at the end it turned out it didn't work out, and then it got to a point. He's okay with deferring 100%, and especially at this age. So he basically, and you watched him pregame, like he told Luka, like, hey, play out, do your thing, don't change your game. And I think that's what you're going to see. And Luka carried that team with Kyrie to the finals. He didn't play great in the finals. And I know he might have scored 27 or whatever, but he averaged 5 turnovers a game, and he shot 50% from the free throw line. So, but I think Luka and LeBron will be just fine. I think they'll be able to make a run, to be honest with you. Lakers are playing well. And you know, they've won 12 or 14. And I know last night was Utah, but they do have a Celtics win in there. So I like the trade. I didn't like it before. Watching them last night, watching what they've done, they added a big today. We'll see. We'll see.
We will see. We're trying to get Eddie back, his camera back. But my firing had to do with the Super Bowl. And Rafa, I texted you that I understood, but I rewatched it. I'm going to fire the freaking people who are hating on the halftime show. I'm sorry. If you are not understanding the culture, if you didn't understand the messages behind, I get it. I understand it didn't give the fireworks that it usually gave in a normal Super Bowl. I understand that part. But I appreciated it, man. I really did. I appreciated it. And I just think that people were truly hating just to hate. I'm sorry. I know Eddie's a Kendrick hater. I would love to get his opinion on this.
So I'm not a fan of Kendrick Lamar. I think he's the best of his era. Other than J. Cole, like, actually, I think he's brilliant, by the way. I think he is brilliant in his messaging. I think him and J. Cole, they tell stories, something that rap has been missing for a while. Like, people love Travis Scott. Travis Scott doesn't say shit.
Right.
He doesn't say
100%.
Great producing, great music. Kendrick Lamar is at another level with his messaging and his, I mean, he has a song that only includes titles of albums. Every lyric is a title. Like, to do shit like that, it's being an artist. Now, I came in at halftime, watched it. My daughter's sitting there and she's doing this. I just started laughing. I think it was just an age gap thing. I watched it 3 times. The first time I thought, hey, that was pretty cool. He didn't give the hits, all of them. Like, there was a song I didn't even freaking recognize. The NFL and Jay-Z's production company, they had to have known it was going to hit. It was not going to hit on all levels. I think that next year I will put $1,000 on it. NFL is going to go country because that's how this is what this country does. It over fucking adjusts. Yeah. Like Rafa said about the Rams Saints game, they over adjusted. Pass interference is now reviewable. That shit didn't work. You got to find a middle, and there was no middle in this halftime show.
Zero.
Every dancer was black. Every fucking dancer was black.
It. I'm sorry, I loved it.
But the thing is, like, I don't even care. That's the problem that we have here, is that listen, if the dancer was good enough, I don't give a fuck the skin color. That is the problem that we always fucking have. Oh,
I agree with you.
The first black person
I agree with the premise.
First black person to do that. I don't give a fuck. Were you good enough to do it before? If you're good enough, who gives a fuck?
I don't think this applies.
It applies to fucking everything.
It does not apply because
it was on purpose.
It was on purpose.
And the NFL
it was on purpose.
That's fine. It could be on purpose.
So what do you mean? So what is your
I
point?
don't give a flying fuck if they were all black. That's what I'm saying. I don't care. They could be all black. They could be all blue.
That's fine.
I don't give a shit. I don't want to talk about the halftime show because everyone's talking about it. I'll tell you. I'll give you my opinion on it.
Talk about it.
I don't like Kendrick Lamar. That's my opinion because I don't like today's rap music. That's me.
I agree with you. But Kendrick, I don't like it. I disagree with you that Kendrick represents...
Give me a Tupac fucking hologram, please.
I do not agree with you that Kendrick represents... Kendrick is closer to Tupac than he is to Travis Scott.
Oh, probably.
Oh, yeah.
I
For
don't like
sure.
Travis Scott either. I told you I
Right.
don't like anybody who
Travis
raps
Scott's
that.
trash. I will take that hit for my generation. Travis Scott is absolute garbage. But let's move on, y'all. We had a
Let's move
big
on.
game.
Hold on.
We had a big-
We got to get some of these guys firings before they hate us. So real
Oh,
quick,
yeah,
Will I'll read them if you want. Will Hanley, I need to hire white chocolate Cooper DeJean. Man's barely old enough to drink. Already has a pick six. Has a pick six off the coat. We know that's not the case
Easy,
here.
Will. Easy.
Iowa boys got that dog in him. Zach says fire DeAndre Hopkins for his post-game interview, saying now you guys don't want to talk about the refs. Zero Cool says, did I know that Devontae Smith was the first Alabama scorer a touchdown? I probably didn't know that, and I don't give a fuck. So that there is that. And then Zero Cool also says Chiefs have this one we got to address. Chiefs and Patriots are trash organizations. They had no legacy before that. They got arguably the top two quarterbacks. Without them, they would still have nothing. And I believe Len Dawson did win a Super Bowl for the Chiefs, Eddie?
Yes, he
did. Okay.
Yes.
All right. So Len Dawson did win a Super Bowl for the Chiefs. Also, the owner of the Chiefs was the
Lamar Hunt. It's called the Lamar Hunt Trophy.
That's what I thought. So they do kind of represent the American Football Conference. The
Yes.
Patriots did make a Super Bowl in 1985, although losing to probably the best defense ever in the Bears. So they weren't totally irrelevant. Zero, cool. They weren't totally terrible. But
The Chiefs have always been a very good organization. They've had lulls like every organization, but
Right.
trust me, I mean, the Chiefs got Joe Montana after he left. I mean, the Chiefs have always been formidable since maybe since the 80s. I mean, have never been bad. But let's move on to this game. CJ, move us along. Push us along here.
Well, we had a big game. If you didn't know, the Super Bowl was played, and I believe that all of us, or at least most of us, had a great time watching because the Kansas City Chiefs completely got their asses handed to and their doors blown off, and the Eagles won 40-22. I mean, Patrick Mahomes, that was the worst game I've ever seen him play.
Garbage.
Period, point blank. So I'll send it to you, Eddie, first. What are your thoughts?
This is how I like how I would like to explain it. Patrick Mahomes got his shit pushed in. Have you ever got your shit pushed in, CJ?
No, Jay has though.
They
Zach's brother
got their shit pushed in.
Wow.
So
Jay catches train.
I'm sorry. It was a beautiful day for me. It was a day that I will cherish for a very long time. It was a building of karma, of maybe some questionable calls, maybe some overexposure. But all those tiny, I'm not going to say bad calls, but all those.
Well, we lost Eddie, so we're
All right, we lost Eddie. So I'll address some comments before. So Patrick Gabriel
in the middle of his rant.
Oh fuck, we'll get Eddie back. But Patrick Gabriel was absolutely terrible on Sunday. I didn't watch the game, but Patrick Gabriel, and I'm referring to him because he looked, and Zach's 100% right on this, and I don't usually agree with Zach, but I'm going to agree with him here. Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs looked like the Oregon Ducks and Dylan Gabriel against the Ohio State. I didn't watch the game. I'll be honest with you. I booked a tea time to finish late. I played an hour and a half away from my house. So by the time I got home, literally it was 40-6. When I turned it on, it was 40-6. I wanted zero part of watching that game from the beginning. I wanted no part of it. But
Will Hanley says the football gods wouldn't allow Eddie Slate.
So I'm gonna now something. It reminds me a little bit, and Mahomes isn't at that stage where Peyton Manning was at that time, but it reminds me a little bit of the Super Bowl we saw Peyton play against Seattle. That first year, I think the first drive ended up in a safety. Like, it reminds me of that. And then the next year they came back and won the Super Bowl. No thanks to Peyton Manning's play at all, by the way. It was Von Miller in that defense that beat Cam Newton. But it reminded me a little bit of that. But like I said, I didn't watch the game. I watched a little bit of the first quarter, rewatched it that night, and before I fell asleep because it was disgusting. It literally put me to bed. But it was terrible, and they were outcoached, outplayed at every position. Even the fucking water boy was outcoached, probably. I'm almost sure. Even he was outwatered. So, but yeah, definitely a Dylan Gabriel, Patrick Gabriel for the weekend. I might use that.
And
you rolling with
you were in the middle of your rant when Hanley said the football gods wouldn't allow you to slander.
I probably went a little too hard. I should probably dial it back.
Calm down, relax.
Shanae turned off his camera. Shanae turned off his camera.
Yeah, she unplugged everything. She's like, my dad's watching. Easy with the shit puts in. But listen, this was shocking. Okay.
Yeah.
We have never seen this offense, which I have said they have been declining the last 2 years. Rafa will, but let's and I have a reel a week before and said this was the pathway to win this. And I gave all the Eagles defensive stats. And I said if they could even come near those stats, then they would win without turnovers. Now, this, like you said, what this game reminds me of, Rafa, is actually the Patriots v Giants with.
I think we're losing Eddie once again.
Are we losing Eddie again?
We're losing Eddie again. So I'm gonna remove Eddie from the stage, and I guess I'm gonna give my opinion on the game.
Go ahead.
And what I thought, I think we got Eddie back here. I thought was I was, as a 49er fan who has in recent memory gotten my ass handed to by the Chiefs, I noticed something right off the bat. The Eagles said, we're not letting Patrick Mahomes in the last moment of a game get an opportunity to get anywhere near the end zone. We're going to put our foot on your neck, and you're going to have to do what you haven't been able to do all season, which is create offense. And so that to me was the biggest. I was like, oh, the Eagles are not playing. They're just going to take off. They're going to take off and see if the Chiefs can catch up. And that's what I was most happy with, was the fact that they didn't let them stick around. They didn't let it, get close. Every opportunity that they had to score and to take advantage, they did.
So let's give some props to Vic Fangio, right? Vic Fangio, I believe, was 1-8 when he coached against his Chiefs. To me, I wasn't so concerned about that because he didn't have the best teams when he was head coach in Denver. But he was familiar and knew what he needed to do. I didn't see this coming. When I saw it, they blitzed one time in 46 offensive downs. What they did was they went zone and didn't create lanes for Pat Mahomes. What did I say, Rafa? This is why I want a mobile quarterback. Because on that 3rd and 8, what does Patrick Mahomes do to you? He gets those first downs with his feet. That was the difference. They didn't, Pat Mahomes wasn't allowed to do that. And it reminds me of that defense of the Giants when you cannot game plan against pressure up the middle. You might be able to game plan with ends. You could, you could screen an end. You can swing pass, throw over an end. But when you get the push that the Philadelphia Eagles got in the middle with Carter and Davis, and then you had the discipline of the ends to not create those lanes, that was a freaking game changer. Now, not every team is going to be able to. Everyone's saying, "Oh, Eagles wrote the script." This is no. First of all, Eagles were number 1 in pass defense. Number 1 in pass defense. And you had 2 defensive tackles, and Sweat had an amazing game that could create that push up the middle. What is, Pat Mahomes, the great ones do in pressure? They step up through the pocket and make throws. That, you saw what happened when he tried to step up in the pocket. He got his
Couldn't do it.
face smashed in. So let's give a shit ton of credit to Vic Fangio. Let's give a shit ton of credit to Jalen Hurts, who has now basically almost outplayed Pat Mahomes in the 2 Super Bowl appearances.
Oh no, he did. Both times.
I didn't see it coming, man.
Nobody.
Yeah.
Nobody.
I didn't see this great game plan. I thought it was brilliant. I thought it was freaking brilliant. But you know, you think of Chris Jones, think of Aaron Donald, you think of those defensive tackles that really make a difference. I think you're going to see a big premium going on these defensive tackles that could actually create pass rush. Let me move on to Andy Reid. Andy Reid didn't have a very good game. Where was the quick passing game?
But Eddie, they weren't
right. And they've been great at that.
I watched the first 3 drives on replay. They ran the ball one time the first 3 drives. Like, you ran the ball one fucking time. So I mean, what were one time in 3 drives in 11 or 9 plays or 10 plays? I think that was it. They ran the ball once. They had 11 total rushes, I think, at the end of the game, if I'm not mistaken, and a couple of them were by Mahomes. It was bad. So them refusing to, and that was right out the gate. Like, you didn't try to run the ball at all. You get the ball and you ran it one time in 3 drives, like, and you were already down 7-0 by the time you got the third drive. And Matthew says Pacheco was absent. Well, Pacheco and Kareem Hunt, they were absent because they didn't get the ball. It doesn't matter. They could, if the Chiefs have any running back was absent for the Chiefs because they didn't get the ball. So did we
Zero Cool said, "I need y'all to put some weed in them cigars." Oh, that's hilarious. And then, yeah, we did lose Eddie again, but time is running out for me, so we got to continue on. Rafa, we got 2025 Hall of Fame class is out. Jared Allen, Eric Allen, Antonio Gates, and Sterling Sharp. Any thoughts?
I always thought Antonio Gates was a first ballot Hall of Famer, and I think this is his 2nd or 3rd time on the ballot. And Eddie's going to say it's because I had Charger season tickets. That's not why. He has the most touchdowns by a tight end ever, and ever. And when we talk about tight ends, we talk about Gronk, Tony Gonzalez, Kellen Winslow Sr., Mike Ditka played a different era, but all those tight ends. He leads them all in touchdown catches. So I thought he should have been first ballot, but Antonio Gates is definitely deserving. By the way, Antonio Gates did not play college football, by the way. So he played basketball at Kent State, little chubby lefty.
Yes,
he did. Yeah, he did. Didn't play football. Play football. Didn't play football. Kent State.
Any thoughts?
No, Antonio Gates, well deserving. And Sterling Sharp, I don't know. I don't know if Sterling Sharp was, it's been years that he's been eligible, and they finally gave it to him. So, Eric Allen, I thought Eric Allen was okay, right, Ed?
He was really good. He was really good he was part of that 83 Eagles defense. That was incredible. Went to the Raiders. Let me address Antonio Gates, because I do give him a lot of shit. I say accumulator. I don't care. Even as an accumulator, that dude should have been in. You can't deny his numbers. You can't deny. It might be even more impressive that he probably ran a 5.2, and was. I mean, the dude, he just was always open, and Phillip Rivers just always seemed to find him. But yeah, everyone knows I love the Hall of Fame. It's so hard to be a first ballot, obviously in baseball, but also in football.
There's some people who were left out, though. So just to name a few, and you guys can comment on any of these names. Eli Manning, Luke Kuechly, Terrell Suggs, Adam Vinatieri, Steve Smith Sr., Marshall Yonda, Reggie Wayne, and Darren Woodson. Any thoughts on those people that were left out?
I have an issue. with Reggie Wayne not being in right now. I think he should have been in. because Reggie Wayne was. You could argue that Reggie Wayne at one point was the best receiver in the league. I believe after Terrell Owens was done, I thought Reggie Wayne was the best receiver in the league at that point. This is my opinion only, right? And I know he played with Peyton Manning and whatever, but I thought Reggie Wayne, and in my opinion, and this is people might not like that, I thought Reggie Wayne was better than Marvin Harrison. So Reggie Wayne, Luke Kuechly for me doesn't bother me that he's not a first ballot
at all.
That if you can ever be an accumulator of tackling people, it's that man.
Hold on. That's the one that I have a problem with. That's actually the. Oh yeah. Oh yes. Go back and look at Luke Kuechly's stats. He was so freaking dominant. I believe he played in the league for 8 years. I think he made the Pro Bowl all 8 years. He might have led in tackling like 5 of those 8.
Let me ask you something real quick. Is Patrick Willis in? Is Patrick Willis in?
I guess I believe so.
I believe so.
Was he first ballot?
Yeah, he just got in like recently.
Was Patrick Willis first ballot?
I'm not sure, but I have an argument.
If Patrick Willis is not
first
ballot, Patrick Willis is better than Luke Kuechly.
No. Luke, I'm telling you, look at Luke Kuechly's numbers. He was the best middle linebacker. Listen, he didn't look like it. He wasn't the fastest, but ask anyone in that era. He was incredible. Luke Kuechly, if he plays another 3-4 years, he's on pace to be maybe the best linebacker of all time. He was incredible.
Patrick Willis was not a first ballot Hall of Famer.
Yeah, no, Luke Kuechly was absolutely incredible coming right out of Boston College. And it was his maybe the best senses at linebacker since freaking Mike Singletary. I have Luke Kuechly, and I hold him in regards. That was the one that bothered me the most, was Luke Kuechly not getting in, because his shit was cut short.
Yeah, I didn't mind that, and I didn't mind Eli not getting in either. I didn't like Eli not getting in either. Eli, I think, will be in his probably his third year, maybe even next year. I mean, he did win 2 Super Bowls. The problem with Eli is that the rest of his the years that he didn't make the playoffs were just horrendous. Like, he was a white Jameis Winston almost, it felt like. For sure. No, you're spot on. Spot on. Great defenses. And by the way, if you're just going to put everyone with 2 Super Bowls in, there's a fucking Mexican vato that went to Stanford, Jim Plunkett, who hasn't been. That's a fucking that. Okay, that is. You saw it?
I saw a clip earlier today. Yeah, I saw a clip earlier.
No, Raider fans are up in arms. That is because he was a number 1 pick coming out of Stanford, went to an expansion Patriots team that was garbage. And then 49ers, people had written him off, sort of like a Bryce Young, revitalized his career and was an amazing quarterback. I thought it was appropriate not to let Eli Manning in right away.
The difference, though, between Plunkett and Eli, I think, has better numbers overall, and Eli's 2 Super Bowls were both Super Bowl MVPs. We're both against the GOAT. Yeah. Like, there's a little bit more
context.
True. That is true.
And by the way, Matt says those Giant teams that beats the Pats were loaded on both sides of the ball, 1,000%. But at the end of the day, those games were won on the arm of Eli Manning. The throw he makes in the sideline to I think it was Mario Manningham.
Plaxico?
No. The one he makes. It was either to Steve Smith or Manningham on the sideline. It was an amazing throw, and that was just to kind of keep the drive going. And then obviously the David Tyree play, which to me, I rewatched it fucking every time this last week. I don't know how many times. Fucking forward progress should have been stopped there. But anyways,
best Super Bowl play in history.
Yes.
Before we move on, we do talk about high school athletics. And so I just want to shout out Elias Ricks and Tanner McKee of Centennial and Modern Day, two of my buddies who won Super Bowl rings on Sunday. So shout out to those guys. But we do have some
Tanner,
big news.
CJ?
Tanner?
You know Tanner? Yeah.
Yeah, he ran all over our ass. Ran all over our ass. And then went on a 2-year missionary.
A large white man. It's a large white man.
But we do have not breaking news, but news in the NFL where the Jets are moving on from Aaron Rodgers. Rafa, what are your thoughts about the Jets moving on from Aaron Rodgers? What are your thoughts about where he goes next? What are your thoughts about him being uncoachable? What are your thoughts?
Dude, I don't think he retires, right? I think he thinks he can still play, obviously. But it has to be he's not going to back up anybody. We know that. He's not going to go and play in Tennessee. I think if he joins a team, it's going to be a team that has a chance to kind of similar to what the Jets had, right? Like the Jets, they thought they were just one unit away as far as their offensive side of the ball. They thought they needed that quarterback to make it better. Is there a team out there that you look at them and you think we're just a quarterback away? But it's not. Aaron Rodgers is not a great quarterback anymore, and we saw it last year. So who takes a chance on Aaron Rodgers? Is he willing to go to a team that is not fit to win, not ready to win? And I know it's the NFL and real. We can all say, any team can win at any moment. Yes, but at the end, look who are the teams in the Super Bowl. We get the Chiefs and the Eagles, who were arguably two of the three best teams in the league all year long, at least record-wise. We cut Buffalo and Baltimore all day, whatever. But it's consistent every fucking year. We don't get those Eli Manning New York Giants runs anymore. Cincinnati, but that team was stacked. So with Burrow. So I mean, what team? I don't see a team that would take a chance on him. Although maybe it's a dark horse team. You get to training camp, and let's say Aaron's is fit and he feels he's ready to go, and the Miami Dolphins come in and look at Tua, and Tua, something goes wrong in training camp, and maybe Tua's not all there. Do the Miami Dolphins take a chance on Aaron Rodgers during training camp? I don't know. That's something I can see. That's a team similar to that. I'm not saying the Dolphins, but I could see it happen. I don't think any other team that needs a quarterback, Titans, the Raiders aren't going to bridge with him, at the end of the day. But I don't think so. For me, but I'd love to hear what Eddie thinks.
So first off, let me say this. I think it was a smart move for them. Bringing Aaron Glenn in, you don't want to have to deal with a veteran with a Super Bowl ring and the strong personality that Aaron Rodgers has. Like Robert Saleh almost had to defer. Like, you remember early in the year when Robert Saleh went to go embrace Aaron Rodgers and Aaron Rodgers like settled down. That was a defining moment. Like, bro, like, I'm the head coach. If I want to give you a fucking hug, I'm going to give you a fucking hug. And you pretend like you like it. Don't play big boy, big pants with the head coach. So I'd like to move as far as Aaron Glenn saying, I am the leader of this team. I'm not going to have Aaron Rodgers be like, I won't be here this time. He's just too big of a personality. Now, Rafa was talking about that. That being said, I think it's a good move for the Jets and Aaron Glenn. I thought Cleveland Browns. I'm thinking maybe a bridge quarterback for the New York Giants or Cleveland Browns or one of those teams that are going to bring in a high draft pick, right? I agree with Rafa. I think he's not going to go out like this. He wants one more run at it. I just can't think of a team, and you thought of it, Rafa, that might be on the verge of that. I don't see Mike McDaniels. I just see like Aaron Rodgers like punking him. Like if you punk Robert Saleh, who's a bigger dude, I don't see a fit. I don't see Tennessee. Maybe Indy. Maybe an Indy.
It has to
But
be a team that would give him a chance to make the playoffs
Yeah.
and a run. Indy's won. Indy's a team, and we know how bad that division is. Indy's a team that could give him a chance. That's another
Yeah.
team. But a
I
team,
like Cleveland.
I don't see.
I think Cleveland.
I don't know if he goes.
Would
I
probably
think
be
Cleveland,
my best candidate.
I think
You know,
Cleveland is a team
Cleveland
that's
Is
outside.
a formidable team if they keep Myles Garrett.
I don't. They don't have weapons. They don't have weapons. How about Pittsburgh? That's another team who doesn't have a quarterback. Do
You guys
they?
are
Do
frozen,
they?
but I'm sure.
Can you hear me?
We can hear you fine.
Oh,
It's
Nelly,
Eddie's
Okay.
connection.
struggling over here.
We hear you,
Well,
Eddie.
How about Pittsburgh, CJ? What do you think about Pittsburgh, who doesn't have a quarterback? Do they think that Aaron Rodgers could be?
I agree with Eddie.
Keep
I
going,
don't
guys. I'm
see
gonna
a
try to fix this.
sounds good. I don't see a landing spot for him. Like I really don't.
No, meaning
Like,
yeah.
there's just nowhere that fits that I could that like as I run through teams in my head, and mind you, I'm not the biggest NFL guy, but as I run through teams in my head, I'm just like, no. Has a quarterback, doesn't fit. You brought up Miami, and that was one of the teams I really hadn't ran through yet, but it's like replace a broken dude for an old dude. So it's like
I don't know if I'm not necessarily saying replacing. What I'm saying is when you get to that point, like because we could, and I hadn't thought about Pittsburgh, but when we look at Pittsburgh, it probably not bringing back Russell Wilson, and they're probably not bringing back Justin Fields. They don't have a quarterback. Are they going to find someone in the draft? Fine, but you're a team that just made the playoffs. You were able to win 10 games, and you lost fucking 5 in a row to close the season, and then your playoff game. So I think it was 5 in a row or whatever they lost, right? So for you to bring him in, the Steelers I think would be a good fit as well if you believe that he's going to take you to that next level, because you don't have anyone, and Pittsburgh is a team that won 10 games and made the playoffs. What quarterback is Pittsburgh going to bring in? Sam Darnold's an option there as well, right? To bring in, because where they're at, are they going to draft a quarterback in that first round? We saw what happened with fucking Kenny Pickett. So Pittsburgh's an option. I think Miami could be an option depending how training camp starts to go for Tua. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying you're going to replace Rodgers for Tua. I'm saying you can bring in, if you have an issue with Tua, I think Aaron Rodgers would be formidable enough, and with all those weapons, and we know Miami and Mike McDaniels, they know how to run the ball. Whether it's they have backs back there and they can run the ball, similar to what the Niners do. So right. I think that would be and also the issue that the Jets had on top of Aaron Rodgers making terrible decisions, with also because you put a lot on his shoulders because you weren't able to run the ball very well. And Breece Hall's a good running back. You just weren't able to run the ball. They were last in the NFL in rushing yards. And when you have a fucking quarterback of 40 plus years old coming off of a torn fucking everything in your knee and your leg and your ankles, and you fucking can barely stand up, you need to be able to run the ball.
Zach and Matt brought up one of me and Rafa's favorite words, Brock Purdy.
Oh, stop it, guys.
So
let's talk about that. I've heard that as well. I've heard Niners as well.
I've heard it, and no.
Let's address this
thank
right
you.
now, Rafa. Let's address this right now, because we've gone back and forth for 2 years on the subject. Now we're in the off season. Now the moment is actually here. You cannot. And John Lynch is a very smart man and one of the best safeties in NFL history. You cannot give this man $50 million, Rafa. He has to know he is not a $50 million quarterback. If Patrick Mahomes took the deal that he took, it's not always about being the next up. Eventually, the market has to adjust. Eventually, a GM has to say,
but they don't, Eddie.
Dallas Mavericks just did it. I know that might be a different issue.
It's
CJ looks like DJ Mustard.
Real quick. I have exactly 15 minutes because I got people over and my wife can't go pick up my daughter. So Jackie can't go there. I got to go there. So I have 15 minutes.
Okay.
But so real quick, I'm going to jump on what Eddie said. I know nobody wants to pay Purdy 50, 60, whatever amount of millions he deserves or doesn't deserve. But at the end of the day, the NFL is always the next up. These guys I'm sorry, but they don't say, oh, we're going to be this team. They don't. They just keep paying. You just paid Dak after you maxed him the first time and gave him the most money in the league at that point, and now you did it again in Dak Prescott. Brock Purdy was top 5 in stats 2 years ago, every single fucking one. It wasn't just like so I think he's going to get paid. But on the point that they're saying about Aaron Rodgers, I can see the same thing with any of these teams, that if they have an injury at quarterback, I think Aaron Rodgers would be perfect for those teams.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't think that Aaron Rodgers can start over any one of those guys. But on Purdy, do they sign him this year? What do you think, Eddie? Do they pay him this year or do they drag it out?
First of all, I think Brock Purdy is an amazing young man, God-fearing, humble. I think he's going to do the right thing and take $33 to $35 million.
I agree.
I really do.
I agree.
Because he's not an idiot. Listen, Rafa, you're right. You're right about the NFL. It has been next up. But now you've seen Dak. You've seen Trevor Lawrence. You've seen Russell Wilson. You've seen these
I've
contracts.
seen Joe Burrow.
No.
I've seen Joe Burrow.
Do not
I've seen
Joe
Burrow. I've seen Joe Burrow miss the playoffs year after year after year.
Joe Burrow's numbers were elite. Joe Burrow's the top 3 quarterback in the NFL this year. Top 3.
He's top 3. He's top 2. He's elite as fuck. He's elite as fuck.
No,
but guess what he hasn't done? Guess what he hasn't done? He hasn't made the playoffs. And what you just said, Joe Burrow's stats were this, and that. Brock Purdy's stats were exactly that the season before. Eddie, they were. They were, okay. Eddie. They were. And so hold on, give me a second. Okay. This year, when we look at the Niners, okay, they had injuries to Brandon Ayuk, who I don't think is good, but he's their number 1 receiver.
Everybody.
Okay. They had injuries to him. They had injuries to CMC. I'm not even going to talk about the injuries on defense. George Kittle. All of those things were not there for Brock Purdy. They weren't. Joe Burrow, he has Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. I'm not saying Brock Purdy's better than Joe Burrow or even on his level.
That's not the argument.
That's not the argument. But when he had a healthy offensive roster, he was top 5 in the league in every fucking category. So when you're looking at him and the body of work, whether you want to believe that he can make this throw, the decisions he makes, whatever it is, when his roster was completely healthy with a Brandon Ayuk who nobody here believes that he's even a top 10 wide receiver when healthy, okay, he had him, Deebo Samuel, who, what is he exactly? We don't even fucking know because he's not top 10 in anything. Okay, and they have arguably a top 5 quarterback, tight end, George Kittle, and one of the 2 best running backs in the league, or 3, whatever. When healthy, this man led his team to the Super Bowl. In his first 2 seasons with healthy rosters, he lost, I think, 4 combined games, playoffs and regular season.
Went 12 straight to
you have to give him that credit. You really do. If you, I'll tell you what, pull.
You guys done yet?
Eddie, I'll say this. Just really quickly, Eddie, as a fan who is ready to drop Colin Kaepernick's ass so fast, when Brock Purdy, when it's his time, I'm going to be right there with you. Send this motherfucker on his way. Send this last pick in the draft on his way. But right now, I can't do that. I can't, not as an honest fan. But when his time comes, I'm going to be with you.
Listen,
I promise
CJ,
you.
I'm going to help. Get the camera zoom in here. I'm going to help out all you 49er fans. I'm going to help you, John Lynch. John Lynch, fucking look at me. Okay, Kyle Shanahan, look at me right now. This is what you're going to do, the 49ers. And John Lynch, you're going to sit down Brock Purdy in the office and say, Brock, man, you are an incredible human being. You deserve to get paid. Not $50 million, but we're going to make you an offer that you can't refuse. I am going to offer you $35 million. Take it or leave it. If not, I'm going to go get Jackson fucking Dart. If you, as Kyle Shanahan made the 7th round, the last pick, Mr. Irrelevant, almost an MVP winner, right? With tiny ass hands, 6 foot, Iowa State. If you don't think Kyle Shanahan can turn Jackson Dart into a Brock Purdy, everyone's high. I would say $35 million, or we're trading up, or maybe we don't even have to fucking trade up. We're going to draft Jackson Dart, and people are going to forget your name. You'll be a fart in the wind, Brock Purdy. Take it or leave it. I'm telling you, that is how you fucking. I hate that I did this because I helped
That's
the 49ers.
a great tactic, by the way. That's an amazing tactic. I would have no issue with that.
You can't tell me, Robert.
I listen. I think you're 100% wrong because there's no way that you can sit this man down and look him in the eyes and ask him to do that. I'm sorry. You cannot ask that of him, period. There is no way that I can ask a man with XYZ record with a healthy roster to do that. Now, what I could do is if he doesn't want to take, let's say, $45 million, right? I could sit there and say, hey, Tennessee Titans, give me your first round pick and you can have Brock Purdy. I could do that. I could. You don't think Brock Purdy's worth the number 1 pick in the draft?
Fuck no. Not even.
Eddie,
I don't think he's worth a 3rd round pick.
Oh my God.
Did you, Brock
Pete
Purdy?
Carroll. Pete Carroll. Go get Brock Purdy, Pete Carroll.
He did
Go
not
get Brock.
carry a team. We saw it. He is not that dude.
Eddie,
Brock Purdy ain't that dude.
Eddie, who's carrying
He had
a team?
the best.
Eddie,
I'm
please
saying
tell
that.
me. Eddie, who's carrying a team? Please name me a quarterback besides Josh fucking Allen and Patrick Mahomes that is carrying a team. Please let me know. Is it Joe Burrow with fucking T. Higgins and Jamar Chase?
Josh Allen.
No. I just said Josh Allen
one
and
of the best
Patrick Mahomes.
quarterbacks in the
Josh
league.
Allen and Patrick Mahomes are the only two to carry a team with absolute shit. Look at Jared Goff and that fucking roster on offense. Look at and Matthew Stafford, okay, with a kid who nobody fucking knew, and he made it happen, okay? But not fucking nobody. Joe Burrow has T. Higgins and Jamar Chase. The other idiot who's somehow going to get paid had Justin Jefferson and fucking Jordan Addison and the run and TJ Hawkinson and all that. Don't say that. Show me a quarterback that can lead a team without any weapons. I'm sorry. Lamar Jackson has 3 first-round wide receivers on that goddamn team. And he has arguably one of the best running backs of his era, if not the best of his era, in Derrick Henry. And he didn't make the fucking Super Bowl.
Brock Purdy was throwing to somebody who got shot 2 months before.
Just said Jaden Daniels carried.
Jaden Daniels was phenomenal. Fine. He carried 100%. The team and lost by fucking 40 points in the NFC title game. And next year, we will not see them in the goddamn playoffs. More than likely. Okay, CJ Stroud last year, not this past season. The first year, he was phenomenal. This last year, he was absolute shit with a better roster on offense. Okay, dude, you're comparing Brock Purdy. When you look at Brock Purdy, he did it with Brandon Ayuk. Who the fuck is Brandon Ayuk and Deebo Samuel? While Joe Burrow gets Jamar Chase and Deebo Samuel's not good.
He was shit last year. He was shit. 2 years prior, I said Deebo Samuel was the best football player in the NFL. He was all of it. He was, Deebo Samuel has fallen off the cliff. Okay, has fallen off the cliff. But George Kittle, elite. You lost Trent Williams. You cannot. The point is, Rafa, is that Brock Purdy was so great because you had so many stars. You cannot afford to pay Brock Purdy $50 million and bring everyone back. It's going
to happen. Whether you want to believe it or not, it's going to
happen. I hope it does happen. I hope.
Bring up Kyle Shanahan. How did the Trey Lance fucking thing go? Would you trade up and give up a bunch of draft picks for the quarterback guru? That was shit with Trey Lance.
That was a horrible. What
would happen to the quarterback guru? That was a terrible pick. All done by John Lynch and the fucking genius Kyle Shanahan, and it was straight trash, garbage.
Agree.
So
agree with that.
This guy has proven to win football games. Okay, you got to the NFC title game against the Eagles, and he got hurt, and you had zero chance. You had zero chance. Not even a little chance you had after he got hurt. Not even a bit. Okay, that comes to the credit of this man. That comes to the credit of Brock Purdy, whether you want to believe it or not. He's smaller than everyone else. His hands are tinier than everyone else. I'm going to tell you right now, and it's going to be a shock, but I'm going to leave it with you. Okay, if you let go of Brock Purdy, you will be like the San Diego Superchargers giving up on Drew Brees. That's what you're gonna be like.
That's insane, Rafa. That is insane.
I'm
Did you not see the overthrow, guys? Did you not see the bad interceptions? I mean, it's not like he was under duress. The guy is not an elite quarterback. He's mid to back end mid.
He was throwing to CJ Pearsall.
No diggity, no doubt.
He got shot
Jennings,
2 months before.
Jennings was a nobody, and all of a sudden, Jawan Jennings is his fucking fantasy monster. He was a fucking nobody. He was nobody.
By the way, CJ, can I and Barindo? That's a stud at running back. That dude don't get enough fucking credit. That fucking kid runs a 4.3. People, because his name isn't McCaffrey, every time I see that dude run, I'm thinking this dude's a dog.
Yeah,
I think he's a great running back.
He's really good. Yes,
guys.
Listen, I hope this happens, Rafa. I know you got to leave. I hope this happens.
I got like 3-4 minutes. I want to address all these dudes in the comments. Okay, Matthew Rocha. First of all, I didn't mention Brock Purdy as being the GOAT, but I'll tell you what, Matt. Tomorrow, since you're a fucking great guy, Matt is a super nice guy. I want you tomorrow, and I don't know where you work, but I want you to go tomorrow where you work and let them know, hey, you know what? I'm such a nice guy that if you're paying me, whatever it is, I don't know, let's throw out a number of $200,000 a year. I'm such a nice guy. I'm worth 200, but give me 125. Give me 125 because you need the money to hire some other guys. Fuck no. Fuck no. If Brock Purdy's worth $55 million, he deserves every goddamn penny. Don't fuck with people's money. He did what he was asked to do. He went out there, led his team. Dude, last pick in the fucking draft. He made the roster. We know they never make the roster. He makes the roster. He leads his team, comes in after the other quarterback gets hurt, bench, whatever the fuck it is, doesn't lose a goddamn game that he played to completion. Okay, the only game he lost that he started was the game against the Eagles. He didn't even finish the first fucking drive. The next year he comes back, okay, finishes every category in the top 5, leads the team to the Super Bowl, and was one block away from winning that game against the best quarterback in this decade. Okay, he was without one play away. The next season, he loses half of his weapons on offense to injury. And you're going to dock him pay because you think in your head, number one, he's a nice guy. Number two, he overthrows receivers. That man has done enough to earn every penny that he deserves to get paid. 50. If Trevor Lawrence deserves 250, this motherfucker deserves 300.
Rafa, you know that's not how this shit works. Yeah, thank you for the History Channel revision. We all saw it. We all knew what happened, but I appreciate the history. It's not about what you've done. It's like, what are you going to do for me?
Eddie, if I know it, listen, if I know that I buy you this machine to cut concrete and you're phenomenal with it, and then your machine breaks and I got to give you this other fucked up machine and your lines aren't that good, but I know you're phenomenal with a great machine because you've already proven it to me. You've shown me that with a great machine, you are the best fucking concrete cutter on the goddamn planet. Okay? I have already shown you that with not even an elite wide receiver, a decent wide receiver, an above average wide receiver, an elite tight end, and an elite running back, I can be an elite fucking quarterback. Top 5. That is what it comes down to. Right there. He did that with the roster.
With average pass blocking offensive linemen. We have McGlinchey and all those motherfuckers with average pass blocking offensive linemen as well. Average.
McGlinchey and Trent Williams?
McGlinchey, are you serious? McGlinchey, that's why we dropped this dumbass. McGlinchey was one of the worst pass setting offensive linemen.
He was the best free agent. He was, when he came out as a free agent, he was the best free agent tackle coming out of free agency.
That's not the dude from Notre Dame.
He's the guard that went to Denver.
Oh, I'm thinking. Yes. Okay.
He's the guard that went to Denver. But I'm gonna leave you guys with that. That's my rant on Purdy. We'll be back next week. I gotta go pick up my daughter.
All right, guys.
But thank you for the comments. And Zach says, "Wish you said that about Kobe." One day, Zachy. One day.
All right, guys.
I'm
Thanks
gonna leave
again.
it open.
Thanks for everyone tuning in. That is our Super Bowl recap, and I will. I'm so curious.
We'll give you fucking 2.5 full hours next week. Trust me.
10. All right, guys. Thanks, everyone. Be safe
Yeah,
over there.
brothers.
We love everyone. We'll see you next week.
Later,
Peace
guys.
out.
Later.
Fuck, man.